The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
Here in Fargo with a somewhat obstructed view with Iowa State chair and 1991 NCAA wrestling champion for the Hawkeyes, Mark Reiland, now retired from coaching but still active in the sport. And another year, another crazy tournament here in Fargo, Mark.
Yeah, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I think the numbers are up for freestyle, so we're going to have to find a bigger place than the Fargo Dome pretty soon.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Definitely going to need a bigger boat.
One of the themes this year that I'm doing with all these shows is your favorite Fargo memory. And Fargo obviously has not always been Fargo, but with the success you had, in wrestling growing up and coaching, you've probably got a few good memories. What are some of the things that jump out at you about your experiences at this tournament, regardless of where it's been over the years?
Well, I kind of liked it when I won both as a senior in high school in Cedar Falls, but obviously seeing some of your athletes, get to that top step has been pretty satisfying over the years. We had quite a few go through our program that won national titles, so it was kind of nice to be able to corner them and see them accomplish those things. Historically,
Iowa has always performed well here. Some of that may be because the tournament started in Iowa and there was almost like a jump start on the freestyle at those age group levels, but that consistency has continued on. And every couple of years there's a wave of great kids that come through. I remember the era when Joey Slayton and guys like that were coming through. There were some buzzsaws coming through Iowa. When you're coaching at that level and you see a special group, a special wave of kids come through, what does that do for the rest of the state and the kids that are, instead of being on Iowa City West or City High or Southeast Polk, your Team Iowa out here? Well,
I think once you get a group of kids together that are at a high level, they raise everybody else around them, and that's really what you hope for as a leader, as a coach. It was always that way as a coach too, and now obviously as state leader, you hope you get your best kids out here and they raise the level of everybody else around them, because that's how you jump levels during the summer. I think that's where our kids always noticed big jumps from one year to the next, but it really comes down to the best kids doing it, and we've been fortunate that way for our state for the most part.
You had to wear several hats over the years. You've been a state chair for a while. You were also actively coaching at the high school level, which meant you had kids out here, and you'd had to almost split duties from coaching on the mat to the directors' meetings and such. And now that you don't actually have to be out there with specific kids that you've got in your high school program, how do you feel like your role or your level of responsibility has maybe changed over the last several years with the USA Wrestling leadership positions?
Well, I think it's more of an administrative role for me now here as state chairman. I'm not involved in all the details of practice and getting kids to weigh-ins and that kind of stuff. I get to kind of monitor everything instead. But, I'm sitting on the board of USA Wrestling and the executive board. I kind of monitor it in that aspect too, and make sure we're doing the things that help promote the sport and help promote USA Wrestling from that standpoint, I guess.
When we look around and we see now they added a 25th mat this year, there's record numbers. Yet we're seeing importance on tournaments like Akron and the Cadet World Championships playing a significant role. Not as many graduated seniors coming to Fargo anymore, but the numbers are going up. What do you attest that to?
Well, I think people are, the level of success that we've had, I think, internationally in the last few years, especially at the freestyle level and even at the women's level. I think kids are seeing that, and we're getting that information out, and I think kids are aspiring to be the Jordan Burroughs, the Jaden Cox, the Kyle Dakes, the David Taylors. They want to be world champs and not just set their sights on being, an NCAA champ. It's more, I want to be a world and Olympic champ. And when you start getting kids looking at that level, this is where they need to be. You're not gonna wrestle folk style all year and think you're gonna win a world title. And we're pretty fortunate right now. We got some pretty good freestyle teams and good leaders on our freestyle teams. So, when you can look at somebody like Kyle Snyder winning a world title at 19 years old, that's pretty impressive. And it's kids want to see that and want to be that. And you remember watching Kyle Snyder come through here, and so I think there's an importance added to this and making world teams. I think we're starting to see some of our kids that made the team in Akron or made the junior world team are now making our senior world team, and we're seeing that same level of success, and that's a good thing. I think it helps us.
Over under how many times Sandy's told you not to climb over the railings?
She's never told me not to climb over, but I've heard it a lot. I'm sneaky about it. You just got to make sure she's not looking when you do it.
Dial it back to some of the memories there, and you've coached a lot of fantastic kids. You've been in the corner for a lot of national titles here and state championships back at your high school levels. But take out potential or success at the college level, just at the high school age group. Who was the best kid you remember coaching at this tournament?
Well, Nate Moore won 2 junior titles. I think that, and he was in 2 cadet finals also. He was in the finals every year he was up here. So, it's hard to say anybody did a better. Actually, he wrestled. He was a Greco champ, was second. Greco champ in cadets, was second twice in cadets, and 2 times champion in juniors. It's pretty hard to beat that level, but he obviously had some tremendous success. And you talk about one of my favorite memories was him and Grajales wrestling. It was a round robin match. It wasn't even the finals match, unfortunately, and that was an unbelievable match. It was the most fun match I've watched. Obviously, I liked the outcome, but it went 3 periods. It was a barn burner, and that was really, really a fun match to watch. Even though I was coaching, it was fun to watch.
And that was also one of the ones that's like, why isn't that on the raised mat? Because that was off on a side mat the amount of people. Everybody. I think they announced 1,500 fans were here yesterday. I think 1,500 people were around that mat at that particular time, and that's where we lose that allure of the round robin when you got 3 hammers on one side of the bracket and they're all going to see each other with the vertical pairing. But in terms of being able to promote the event and have set sessions, what were your thoughts on the move to vertical pairing, away from vertical pairing to line bracketing?
Well, I think it's easier to follow and it's easier to promote, and the one thing that everybody liked with the vertical pairing was you could have a bad match and still win it in theory. And to be honest, we've come through most of our lives. You've never been able to lose and still win the tournament, and why should this be different? So, I like the vertical pairing. It's easier to follow for the fans, but the promotion, I think, has gotten a lot better over, the last 4 or 5 years since we started, and I think that's a lot of it. I just think it's easier from a tournament standpoint to run it on a line bracket case.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're like, okay, this guy needs to lose, this guy needs to lose, this guy needs to lose, and you need to win and not score and not give up a point. Or, with a promotion standpoint, hey, everybody tune in for the quarterfinals, tune in for the semifinals, not tune in for round robin 1.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I kind of like the vertical pairing because I had it figured out. I knew who was going to go where typically, but this way, in the corner, if you get this far, this is who you're going to have. The quarterfinals, the semifinals, you can showcase them. I just think it's better for our tournament, for our kids, for our sport, when you can, showcase them like that. And I think we're doing a good job of it. I really think that, like I said, 5 or 6 years ago, we laughed because one of the coaches on our staff 1 year up here, and I think you're aware of who I'm going to talk about.
I just mentioned this on another show just with Gimp already, but yes, continue. Tell us about the unfortunate draws.
I mean, I think he drew Kyle Snyder first round and Jaden Cox second round. I mean, I don't know how you can draw that.
Thanks for coming out.
I mean, hey, I just wrestled 2 world champs, whatever. But, the good thing about line bracketing is you're not going to have that problem. I mean, there's no way he's going to run into both of them in that sense. So I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, he deserved it. We'll just put it that way. He deserves to have those 2.
And because Brett's getting more airtime every year this year. I mean, ever since that happened in 2012, and we're looking through the brackets, he beat guys that were all Americans that year, like junior duels. It's not like he was just a scrub that gets 2 hammers. I know there was a guy from my high school that got Mike Benefiel and Chris Perry back to back one year. I thought that was a bad draw. Now, bringing back to bad draws, you're a bad draw for people. Going back in time, talking about those junior titles you win. Without me looking it up, I want you to tell me a little bit about what you remember about those tournaments, who you beat in the finals, and things that you took away from that experience.
I took away, I don't ever want to wrestle. I think I wrestled 13 matches in Greco and 13 in freestyle. I don't want to wrestle 26 matches in a week again. I had Todd Chesborough in the finals of freestyle, and Brett Gustafson, I think, was in the finals of Greco. So it was a long week. The thing that saved me was I got enough falls in Greco that I think I had 8 fall, or maybe it was 11 matches in both, not 13. But I think I got, let's just put it this way, if you can get the match over quicker, it's a good way to survive a long week. So.
The Short Time Wrestling Podcast is proudly outfitted by Compound Clothing. Shirts, singlets, custom gear orders, everything you need. Call up Cliff and the crew at cmpteamwear.com. Hey, you know what? Did you like the show? You want to hit that subscribe button? MatTalkOnline.com/listen. Various different ways to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcatcher of choice. And if you're already subscribed, you already listened, you love the show, and you want to support this show and this network, MatTalkOnline.com/join the team. Become a team member today.